Hello and welcome back to Manifest Mindset with a form attract. In this episode, we are going to be doing prepping for 2024 part 1. So if you're someone who hasn't yet started planning your 2024 or you didn't even think about it, this episode could be for you. I know we are on the 1st, and yes, this podcast is probably coming late to some people, or think, what's the point of planning your 2024 when on the first day of 2024? Simply because it's never too late to plan your life. It doesn't matter if it's January, March, July. As long as you've got some months left of the year, then you can start planning and making changes. Not everything is about the start or the beginning of the week or the month or even the year. These kind of notions we need to get out of our head, so we have one less thing that will hold us back from setting up and having a better life. Once we get rid of an obstacle as small as that, you've taken a big leap. How many times, next week I'll start, or I'll start the next month. We'll find any reasons and excuses why we will start something. In some cases, yes, if you have a busy month ahead, you've got a lot going on and you can't fit it in, yes, then it is a plausible excuse to start whatever you need to start the following month. But when it comes to planning your life, it's a good idea to start where you are. If you are busy at work, you get home, sort out what you need to at home, and make sure you find that 20 minutes, that 30 minutes, whatever it is, so you don't keep giving yourself excuses as to why you can't start something. Now, for me personally, I like to have a pen and paper at hand when I'm planning, because what's in my head, I need to jot it down. Now, sometimes you may find that everything is muddled, everything is confusing. You don't know what to start with, what to end with, what's the best way of this and what's the best way of that, what's more important, what's the least important. If you have so much in your head and you're just like, oh my gosh, I just can't even begin to even know or to start what to plan before I even get to the planning stage, my advice is to jot everything in your head down. Every single thing in your head. Put it on that piece of paper. If you like to go straight to computer and type it or write it in your tablet with a pen, that's fine, wherever is comfortable for you. Me personally, I love a pen and paper. I just love it. There's something grounded about a pen and paper. And you would write down, I want to lose weight, I want to gain weight, I need more money, I want a better job, I need an income, I need a job, I want to start my career, I want to start that book, I want to start a podcast, I want to decorate my home, I want to buy a new home, I want to start learning a new language, I want to learn how to sing, I want to learn to play the piano. Whatever it is that you've had a desire to do, write it all down. And once you've written that all down, you look at it and your brain's going to be like, oh my gosh, this is just not going to happen, is it? Like, there's just too much. So your brain will see all this writing on a paper and you just kind of just get a little bit, but that doesn't matter. What you can then do, step number 2, is to categorize your wants and needs. One for health and fitness, pleasure, family, relationships. You can put it in whatever type of category that suits you. So for example, you might have relationships, and that will cover friends, family, romance. You can have health, that can cover your mind, body, spirit. And you've got work or career, and that will cover whatever. Yeah, so you can divide and title whatever is going to resonate with you. It's about what you want to do and what you see. It isn't about what other people and other gurus have put. You know, you can watch them, listen to them, you can get inspired. But if this is what resonates with you, go with what resonates with you, as long as it makes sense. And the next step you will do is, after you've categorized everything, is you will take one category at a time. Okay, don't overthink this part. So the brain dumping is great and you sorting it out is great. Part 3 is still easy, but if your mind starts to go into overdrive and say, oh my gosh, what's more important, what do I need to sort out first, what do I need to sort, it doesn't matter. Know that you're going to get through all of these. Yeah, and there's always room for amendment as time goes along, and add in and remove it. So what you do, say for example, you take your career, right? So you put, what do you want out of that part, career or work? Are you someone who wants to start their own business? Are you happy in your job? Or are you happy working in a company in your position, but maybe not necessarily happy working in that company? You might want to move on. So you just kind of write down the things that you want out of that particular subject. You know, I want to increase in income. I want to get a second job. Is that second job going to be working for someone else, or is it going to be your own income? Whatever it is, write it all down, and then you go through all those different sections, okay? And then you just write it down, and then you get another kind of list. Now, the trick here is to not be overwhelmed, or get anxious about what you have written. I know it's easily done because I sit down and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I just got too much stuff, oh my god, and I'm just like panicking in my head. I'm like, calm down, girl, calm down, everything's okay, no one's chasing you, there's no deadline here, it's all you. Relax, take a step back, and just continue doing what you need to do. Yeah, so if you find yourself in that position, just tell yourself to chill, step back, take a deep breath, close your eyes, count to 10, open them up. Okay, now how you write this down is up to you. You might write it on separate pieces of paper, you might have loose paper, so you just have this piles for that piles for that piles for that, whatever way that's going to help you get through it, so you don't have everything looking at you at once. And once you've kind of sifted and sorted things that you want to do in each of those sections, you can then move on to the next step. Now, I will point out to you, this doesn't have to be done all in one day. It could be on the way to work. If you take public transport, for example, on the way to work, and you've got a good 25 minutes, 30 minutes on London, well, not London, may not be in London, but on public transport, and you're able to write it down on the train if you can. Sometimes it's not always easy, especially on the buses when it's a bit bumpy, but just get a notebook, go to the local pound store or whatever, get a cheap notebook and just write everything down, scribble everything down, because you can always come home and reorganize it again properly. So you got that time. If you're working full time, demand from yourself that time out. Like this, I'm going to be harsh here. If you're going to keep making excuses, oh, I've got the kids, I've got this and that, even though that's true, you're always going to have the kids. You're always going to have something to do. There's always going to be things doing. So you really have to make this like, no, you need to sort this out. You need to sort this out. You had your dinner, this is that, boom. I want 20 minutes for myself undisturbed, unless it's an actual emergency. Like, you do need to put some things in place, because I can give you I can give you examples or reasons and go deeper and deeper, and take 5 minutes, take 2 minutes, take 1 minute, but eventually you just have to stand like, you know what, no, this is ridiculous. I can't keep reducing the amount of time I'm going to have myself to do things. So make sure that you are firm with yourself, and just make sure you demand from yourself time to do this. Now, speaking of time, like I said, you don't have to do all in one go. You can make a decision. There's two options. A, make a decision to do it over a number of days. Two, just go with the flow, and whether it takes you just do it, in your own time. However, it would be good to give yourself a deadline. So, for example, I want to start sorting out what's out of my head and get these first 2-3 steps, and I want to do that within 7 days. So give yourself a timeline. So again, be free, don't pressure yourself, don't add too much stress. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you come home from work or whatever and you haven't done anything, and don't beat yourself up about it. If you are not working, that could be very stressful as well. If you have very low income and you've got bills coming out, emails, letters, they want their money, it is so hard to stay focused and doing anything when you've got people asking you for money. And that is very hard. But I ask you again to demand from yourself. Well, they're going to keep writing, they're going to keep emailing me. I'm at home anyway, so why not just block out half an hour, 45 minutes to get this stuff done? Because what this stuff done can actually help me in my problems in the future. Yeah. So again, people, always give yourself, demand from yourself what you want. This year is about stepping up. This is about reducing the excuses, reducing the, I don't want to say flexibility, but reducing the kind of steps as much as you can so you can get further along. I'm very big on baby steps and tiny baby steps, because I get it. Mentally, it is sometimes, for some of us, it's a massive struggle. And one tiny step is better than none at all. But if we can up it up a notch and try to reduce those tiny steps and just make it a little bit bigger, you're going to thank yourself for it. Now, when you've made that list and you divided that list, depending where you are mentally, you might want to give yourself a break for a day or two, just to, it's out, you put it down, you started, you need some time, and then you might go on. If you're good, you can go straight in. Now, with each one of your topics, you might have a few, for example, relationships, and you are looking to find a partner. And you will decide, well, is this looking for a partner to marry or long term or whatever it is? And then you will find steps on how you're going to do that. Are you someone who's always in the house and never leave? Are you someone who finds it awkward just to talk to people in general? And identify your pros and cons when it comes to relationships, and where to find and where to meet people. And with that, you can do a little homework yourself. Where do single people find? Some people like apps, some people don't like apps, some people rather than you just walk into a place and your eyes meet and then it's all over for the rest of the world. It's just you two, and that's great. But kind of dissect your weaknesses and your strengths when it comes to that, and then write down what you need to work on. Okay, and you can do that for each of the topics in your life. If you've got your home life and your home is chaos, it's always untidy, what's your strengths? What's the weaknesses? Why don't you tidy up? Is it a mindset thing? Is it a lazy thing? Adjust it, and everything that you do, just take it and take that time to dissect the things and areas that you need to work on. Once you have identified those things, you can then go and start putting them into practice. Now, let me just say this. If you've got so many areas of your life that you are working on, you do not have to wait until the whole thing is completed for you to start. So say, for example, you started on your health and the things that you need to do, and that took you a day, or not a full day, but that took you in a space of a day, within that day, to dissect it. My pros and cons on health, everything that was good, everything that's bad, things I need to work on. And then once you identify the things you need to work on, you can take steps immediately. So if it means walking 10 minutes every single day, 10 minutes, just 5 minutes up the road and 5 minutes back, or 10 minutes up the road and 10 minutes back, whatever you want to do. And then you can start working on the areas that you've already worked on. So you don't have to wait until everything is complete. Yeah, this isn't about having that perfect scenario. Like we have this fantasy in our head. Oh, when this is this, I'll do this. When that is that, I'll do that. And we know, guys, come on, it never always works like that. Waiting for a house to be tidy for us to work on ourselves, or waiting for this to happen for us to do that. Yeah, just get it done. Just start. So that's a good way to get started, because again, if you started on the little bits, you can build it up. Right. Now, that being said, there may be some priorities that you might want to put. Depending on who you are, you might not be able to, you may not feel that you can work on every aspect of your life at the same time. It could just be so overwhelming for you. Oh my gosh, I've got to work on this. Especially if you're someone who's got a lot of negatives and a lot of bad habits and a lot of, it's then to try and fix everything at once will feel like a nightmare and will feel really heavy. So what you should do is pick the subject that you want to work on the most. Yeah, don't worry about it if it's the smallest, tiniest thing. Just pick something and then you start working on that, and then you can just put them in order. And obviously as time goes on, sometimes the orders may change, and you can just add on to your change of your life. Okay, now don't beat yourself up on it. I get it. Like sometimes when your whole life is a mess in all areas, you want to get started straight when you want to get stuck in. If you can do that and you can jump in, but the jumping in is going to be long, not going to jump in and then 5 minutes later you're going to jump out and crash and burn, then by all means, like I said, you do tailor to your own needs and what you feel that you can do. If you start in really small but you say, actually no, I can take a little bit more on, then take it on. Don't be afraid of, if I take more on, will I crash? Will I then end up be the reverse and no, because if you take more and it's a little bit much, you can always dial it back. Same thing, if you go and you jump in and you start and things are going well, but you find yourself slacking and procrastinating and not doing, which is gonna happen, I'm gonna tell you now, it's gonna happen anyway. Dial it back. Okay, this is more important than that is more important than that. So make sure you identify, assess how you are going to attack your life and put things back or put things in place in the way you want it. Now I'm going to talk to you about the ways of going about planning the changes that you want. Now, at the beginning, I explained to you, get a piece of paper and a pen and just start writing everything out. Do your brain dump, everything that's annoying you, everything that you need to change, everything that you want to do. And then you just divide it up into categories. And once you divide up into categories, you work on one category at the time, or one element of a category at a time. And then you write down your pros and cons and the things that you need to work on. I said you don't need to be all done in one day. It can do a number of days. However, do put a deadline so you're not doing it for like half of the year. Now, if you want to, you can stick to pen and paper. You can buy yourself a journal. You can buy yourself a notebook and create your own journal. You can do online. I like to, my idea is I like to do mine online. I use this app called Notion. I absolutely love it. Some of you may have heard of it. A couple of years ago, I was looking for something, an online kind of planner, but something that's more personable, something that's more for me, that suits me. And the only things I had was like money.com, Clickwork, Click Upwork, or whatever it is, all these, but they were more corporate and more business. And it was just too corporate for me. And I'm a very cozy, aesthetic, relaxed. I got this kind of vibe that I like, and I want to tailor it. I'm a very visual person, so I want to tailor it to my visual needs. Okay. And my friend said to me, I mentioned Notion to you before, but she must have mentioned it and I must have just didn't hear it. But anyway, I ended up finding it on my own afterwards. And when I first started using it, it worked because I wanted to look at the app. It made me want to go on the app because of just how it looked. That's just me personally. But after a while, again, sometimes when your mindset kicks in and it kind of dwindled a bit, but I still found that was the best way for me to keep up with what I'm doing. I like seeing my boxes ticked whatever time I said I'm going to do videos on certain topics. I like all this different stuff, so it really, really helped me. So you have online app, you can stick to your pen and paper, you can create your own journal, or you can buy a journal and you can start planning. Now let's get to the planning part, and I'm going to put it out there straight away. It doesn't matter when you start this. It doesn't matter when you listen to this podcast. Start when you start. So don't wait for another year, another week, another month. Just get going. I I said to you before, every single year I'm never prepared. I always plan to prepare myself for the year ahead and what I want to do, and it just doesn't happen. And I've just accepted that about myself. So I don't beat myself up that January 1st has come once again, and I'm just, not prepared. It doesn't mean I don't know what I want to do and what I need to do, but I just don't have any plans about how I'm gonna go about it. It's just like, yeah, okay, I want to produce 4 videos this month or 6 podcasts this month, or do this and do that. I kind of know what I want to do, and it's pretty much the same. It's just ticking over, but it's nice to plan properly, put it in your head to just make sure that you do what you need to do. So make sure you don't worry about that. You don't stress about that aspect of it. Sometimes it can be very overwhelming when you're planning, especially when you are not used to planning. You're used to winging it, or you plan a bit and all of that, just scrap it from your head. It doesn't matter. Now, I will advise you, if you want to, just go on YouTube and look at different ways of how people plan their days, their weeks, their months, the year ahead, how they do their business plans, their personal plans, how they fit it in. Now, this part is very important, and this is where patience, people, come in. You need to be patient with yourself. If you are stuck and you need help, you need to stop and say, okay, I need help. I'm going to dedicate a few hours a week in doing some research and finding out different ways that other people do stuff that may help me. Okay? Yes, it's going to kind of prolong the planning part, and you get in your plans and putting them into action, but it doesn't actually stop you from doing the things that you need to do. If you have a messy house, you know that you got a messy house, you need to start cleaning it. You do not need to wait until you've planned everything. On Mondays after work, I'm going to do the ironing. On Tuesdays, I'm going to sort out the you don't need to do that. You don't need to have that to know that's what you want to do. You can make a quick fire planner if you like. So, okay, you can go to any shop that has notepads or to-do lists, and you can buy them, or you can do it on your online on an app, and you can just like, right, okay, let me just plan my week roughly. Right, on Monday I'm going to do this, Tuesday I'm going to do that, Wednesday I'm going to do that, Thursday I'm going to do that, Friday I'm going to do that, Saturday I'm going to do that, Sunday I'm going to do that. So you can plan it, and just take an aspect of your life that you can actually do, whether it's job searching, doing research for a new business, tidying the home, practicing a hobby that you want to do. You don't need to plan it immediately in this big fantasy type of, how I plan my life, how I plan my week. You don't need all that, just to get you started, so you're not stumbling and therefore causing you to kind of just throw your hands up in the air and give up. Just start. But I will implore you to go and find people that are planning. It doesn't matter how young they are. Again, don't try and attach yourself to people who are like you. A lot of the videos that I watch are people who are much, much, much younger than I am. There's a certain type of people that I watch because I kind of resonate with them and how they do their stuff. So I found the type of people I like to watch, and I watch it. Me right now, I am unprepared. I said to myself, by the end of January, I want to be able to have what I want out of my head onto my Notion and have my plan. Yes, January may say, but that's a whole month. It doesn't, that I'm not going to quote unquote do anything because I'm busy planning. Yes, but there's still things that I know that I want to do that I can still do without actually having it written down. It's just up to me to just put my big girl pants on and say, you know what, I haven't got the plans written out, but I know I want to practice my piano. I know I want to practice my singing. I know I want to start writing a book. I know that I want to learn how to mix and blend colors with watercolor. I know whatever it is, I know there's certain aspects that I want to do, and I can start at any moment and make sure that I can fit that in. So if I can do it, you can do it. Anyway, this is the end of this part 1 on prepping for 2024. Tune in for part 2.